All right, welcome. Have you ever looked at a complex piece of software and just wondered, how on earth do teams of developers build that without it all turning into a complete mess? Well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we are going to break down the essential Git and GitHub workflow. This is the exact process that professional teams use all over the world to take a bunch of individual code and turn it into one solid working product. So here's the game plan. We'll kick things off with a repository, then get into the nitty-gritty of the developer's day-to-day workflow. After that, we'll see how teamwork comes together with pull requests, look at integration and testing, and finally, we'll go live by merging and deploying. Let's get into it. Okay, Section 1, Project Kickoff. To really make sense of all this, we're going to follow a team building a new project from scratch, an employee management system. And for any team, job number 1 is setting up that single source of truth. You know, the central hub where every single line of code is going to live. That's the repository. So meet the team. We've got 4 key players, and everyone has a very specific job to do. There's the manager, who's kind of the project lead. Then we have 3 developers. One is handling all the login and security stuff. Another is building the core features, like adding and deleting employees. And the third is making it all look good on the front end. Splitting up the work like this, it's absolutely crucial for keeping things moving smoothly. All right, before we dive deep, I want you to see the whole picture. This right here, this is the entire journey, all the way from an empty folder on a laptop to a live application that people can actually use. Don't worry if it looks like a lot. We're going to walk through every single one of these steps together. So the manager gets the ball rolling. First things first, they need to create that central hub on GitHub. It's actually a really simple process. You just click New Repository, give your project a name, in our case, Employee Management System, decide if you want it public or private, and it's always a good idea to check that box to add a README file. Then boom, click Create Repository, and you're in business. Of course, a repository with just one person isn't much of a team project, right? So the very next thing the manager has to do is invite the rest of the team. You just head over to the repository settings, find the Collaborators tab, and start adding your developers. This gives them the keys to the castle, so to speak, the permissions they need to actually push their code. Okay, listen up, because this next part is maybe the most important concept in the entire workflow. It's the branching strategy. The main branch. Think of that as sacred ground. It's the live, stable code that your users are interacting with. You never touch it directly. Instead, all the new, messy, in-progress work happens on separate feature branches. Once those features are ready, they get merged into a dev branch. This is our integration and testing area. This whole system acts like a firewall, protecting that precious main branch from bugs and half-baked features. So, now that we have our strategy, the manager makes it official. They create that dev branch on their computer and then push it up to GitHub. And just like that, the shared workspace is born. This is the place where all the different pieces of the puzzle will eventually come together. All right, Section 2. Let's switch hats now. The manager has set the stage. So what happens next? How does a developer actually grab the project and start coding their feature? First things first, for any developer on the team, they have to clone the repository. It's basically like making a perfect photocopy of the entire project from GitHub and saving it onto their own computer. This git clone command creates their own private sandbox to work in. And here's where the magic of branches really shines. Before anyone even thinks about writing code, they create their own personal branch. You can see Dev 1 makes a branch for authentication, Dev 2 for the CRUD operations, and so on. This is brilliant because it means everyone is working in their own little bubble. Dev 1 can completely break the login page, and it won't affect anyone else's work. It's total isolation. Now we get to the core loop, the 3 commands every developer uses all day, every day. Add, commit, and push. Think of it like this. Git add is like gathering up all the files you've changed and putting them in a box. Git commit is like sealing that box and putting a label on it describing exactly what's inside. And Git push? That's mailing the box up to the shared warehouse, which is our GitHub repository. So let's see that in action. Our developer, Dev 1, has just finished building the login and logout feature. So what do? First, git add dot to stage all the changes. Then, git commit with a clear message like completed login/logout. And finally, git push to send their feature off Dev 1 branch up to GitHub. Now their work is safe, sound, and visible to everyone else. Okay, Section 3. Teamwork and the pull request. Dev 1's code is up on GitHub, which is great, but It's still stuck in its own little branch. So the big question is, how do we get that code into the main dev branch where it can work with everyone else's features? And the answer to that question is the pull request. This is the cornerstone of team collaboration on GitHub. A pull request, or PR, is basically a developer raising their hand and saying, "Hey team, I'm done with my feature, please review my work, and if it's good, merge it into our shared dev branch." And creating a PR is super easy. You do it all right on the GitHub website. You just go to the pull request tab and hit new pull request. Then you tell it where the code is coming from, your feature branch, and where you want it to go, the dev branch. You give it a good title, write a quick description of what you did, and hit that create pull request button. In this is where the real teamwork kicks in. The PR isn't just a merge button, it's a conversation. The manager or other devs can come in, see every single line of code that changed, and leave comments. Like, here, looks good, but can we add validation? It's a critical quality check before that code ever touches the shared branch. So, Section 4, Integration and Testing. Once that PR is approved, the manager clicks Merge, and Dev 1's feature is now officially in the dev branch. That's awesome. But now comes the next big challenge, making sure all these different features built by different people can actually work together without breaking. Okay, this is a super important habit for any developer on a team. Before Dev 2 even starts their own work, what's the first thing they should do? Git pull origin dev. This command pulls down all the latest changes, including Dev 1's newly merged feature, from GitHub. Doing this constantly keeps everyone's local project in sync and helps avoid nasty surprises later. So you just rinse and repeat. Dev 2 finishes their work, they push, they open a PR, it gets reviewed and merged. Then Dev 3 does the exact same thing. And after this cycle happens for all the features, our dev branch is now this beautiful, complete version of the application. It has all the new pieces integrated together, and it's finally ready for some serious testing. And now for the final chapter, going live. The team has tested everything on the dev branch. It's solid. All the features are working together perfectly. So the moment of truth is here. It's time to get this out into the world for our users to see. And how do we do that? You guessed it, with one last pull request. But this one is the big one. The manager opens a PR to merge the entire, fully tested dev branch into the sacred main branch. This is basically the final sign-off, the official green light to go live with release version 1.0. And as soon as that merge to main happens, something amazing kicks off completely on its own, the deployment pipeline. This is an automated system that's just been waiting for this moment. It sees the new code on main, it automatically builds the project, and then it deploys it to a live server. And just like that, without anyone lifting another finger, the new version of the application is live for users. So there you have it. That's the happy path, a beautifully structured workflow that keeps teams sane and production code safe. It's all about isolating work in branches and using pull requests to collaborate. But let's be real, what happens when things aren't so happy? What happens when two developers accidentally change the exact same line of code in the same file? That, my friends, is a merge conflict, and learning how to solve those is what separates the pros from the beginners.